This is Signature TV News. I am Charles Pius. In the headlines, Association of Local Governments of Nigeria seeks 4-year tenure for local government officials. Anambra Police intercepts gun runner, recovers 375 live cartridges. On the foreign scene, EU not worried about China's anti-dumping probe into imported pork. And in sports, Rangers management to rejig the team ahead of CAF Championship. Details in a moment. The Association of Local Governments of Nigeria, ALGON, has called for the adoption of a unified 4-year tenure for elected local government officials in the country. The national president of ALGON, Aminu Muazu Maifata, made this known in an interview with newsmen on Monday in Lafia. Aminu said that the move would ensure good governance and quality representation at the grassroots. He called on the National Assembly to urgently amend the constitution to unify the tenure of local government officials across the country. He also called on the federal government to increase the monthly allocations of 774 local government areas in the country to enable them pay the new minimum wage when it finally becomes law. The Arawaka Youth Consultative Forum says it supports the statement by Governor Charles Soludo of Anambra State that governors and other elected officials should also earn the proposed new national minimum wage in view of the country's current economic realities. The national president of the forum, Shatima Yerima, who spoke in an interview with News Agency of Nigeria in Lagos on Monday, said that it is only the way the elected officials can have a feel of what workers go through in the face of the present economic challenges. Yerima observed that even though Nigerians are very poor and broke, the lifestyle of government and government officials does not reflect that, especially with the obscene flamboyance and public display. He described the disparity between the earnings of political leaders and the average citizens as staggering, which he said cannot be condoned in an equitable society. According to him, elected officials should be willing to make the sacrifices and tighten their belts in solidarity with the people they serve. Recall that Governor Soludo had, while reacting to the rejection of the proposed 62,000 naira minimum wage by the Nigeria Governors Forum, suggested that governors and other elected officials should earn the minimum wage to have a feel of what workers are going through in the face of economic challenges. As Nigerian Muslims continue to observe this year's Eid el-Kabir, reports speak of low-key celebrations. Correspondent David Okoro, who visited the streets of ENUGU, attributed the situation to the prevailing economic situation in the country.
The annual festival of Eid el-Kabir commemorates the willingness of Prophet Muhammad to sacrifice his son Ishmael in obedience to Allah's command. The period is observed with prayers, charity, social gathering, sharing of meals, and gifts, among other activities. The meal from the sacrificed animal, which in most cases is symbolized by ram, signifies the importance of charity, communality, and obedience to God. It also marks the end of the Muslim holy month of fasting, or Ramadan. Some of the Muslim leaders who spoke on the event lamented that the prevailing economic situation in the country affected the celebration.
It is a celebration of sacrifice. That is Eid Adha. We call it Eid el-Kabir or Babban Sallah. The Muslims all over the world use that medium to sacrifice ram in respect to the will and submission to the will, in respect to the submission of the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
The major aim of this Salah to promote peace, harmony in Enugu State.
They appeal to those in authority to do everything possible to lessen the burden and hardship faced by Nigerians.
The economic situation is terrible, and we use this mission to call on the government to quickly and urgently do something so that they will ease the suffering of Nigerians, not only the Muslims, Nigerians as a whole.
Formerly, you see a lot of people slaughtering animals to celebrate the Salah. Well, this time around, very few, those who are capable financially to do that. Actually, then from there, you can now do the arithmetic that That's a lot of problem, financial problem, which is circulating around the country here.
Eid el-Kabir, also known as Festival of Sacrifice, is one of the significant celebrations by Muslims worldwide. In Enugu, David Okoro for Signature TV News.
No fewer than 6 persons have been reported killed, with more than 100 persons also abducted when suspected gunmen attacked a community in Sokoto State in the early hours of Sunday. The police in Sokoto, through spokesman Ahmed Rufai, confirmed the killing and abductions which took place at the Tudundoki, Gwadabawa local government area of the state. Rufai said though information about the attack was still sketchy, the divisional police officer attached to Gwadabawa led a team of policemen to the community to assess the situation and restore normalcy. According to villagers, the assailants, numbering about 7, attacked the community around 1:30 a.m. armed with sophisticated firearms, shooting anybody on sight and abducting. Gwadabawa, one of the local governments in the eastern senatorial district of Sokoto State, had been peaceful until the Sunday morning attack. 375 live cartridges have been recovered from a suspected gun runner near the Onitsha main market, Anambra State. The suspect, 48-year-old Felix Owaya, from Ika, South Local Government Area of Delta State, was nabbed by the police operatives attached to Fairgate Division, Onitsha, while on patrol along Niger Street, Onitsha. A statement signed by the state's police public relations officer Ikenga Tochukwu says during interrogation, the suspect confessed that he was sent by one Charles Obonna to collect the ammunition from a man he is yet to mention his name, adding that investigation is still ongoing. Meanwhile, the Commissioner of Police, Nage Obono Itam, while commending police officers who made the recovery for their vigilance and tenacity of purpose, directs all personnel in the commands to sustain the tempo of crime prevention and detection in service of the people of the state. It will be recalled that 2 serial offenders wanted on a case of alleged rape and armed robbery were arrested yesterday by police operatives attached to Abagana Division. 2 locally made double-barrel guns, 1 locally made single-barrel gun, 6 live cartridges, and 1 Q-Link motorcycle were also recovered from the 2 suspects. The suspects, Chukwuma DG, known as Sympathy or Chiboy, aged 35 years, of Ibanagu Omudun village, Abagana, and Michael Edochie Mikel, aged 31 years, of Ezeabunabu Omudunu, Abagana, sometime last year allegedly raped a married woman at Obinagu, Abagana, and fled the community when security operatives attempted to arrest him. Police reports revealed that the suspects had broken into an apartment belonging to a young lady and raped her and her friend at gunpoint before forcing one of the victims to transfer money into their account. Both accused have confessed to the crime and will be arraigned before the courts, police have said. The police command in Enugu State has arrested 3 suspected criminals and recovered firearms ammunition and 15 motor batteries within Enugu metropolis. The command spokesman, DSP Daniel Ndukwe, made the disclosure in a statement on Monday in Enugu. Ndukwe said the police operatives serving in MNA Division in concert with law-abiding citizens recovered a Beretta pistol with 36 rounds of 0.9mm caliber ammunition on June 16 around 7 p.m. Ndukwe said that the firearms and ammunition were recovered from a small bush where they had been abandoned around Airport Corner by Old Abakaliki Road, Emena in Enugu. The exhibits were suspected to have been abandoned by criminal elements on the hot trail of the police operatives for allegations of armed robberies, he says. The spokesman said that in another operation, 3 suspects were arrested by police operatives serving in the Akonano Division in Enugu on June 7th around 2 p.m. He said that their arrest followed the conduct of a covert operation by the operatives upon the receipts of complaints about the theft of several motor vehicles, batteries at the construction site in Okonano axis of Enugu. Ndukwe said that the suspects who were initially arrested during the act had confessed upon interrogation to having stolen many batteries and sold them to another suspect who was later arrested. 15 batteries, including those of articulated and other motorcycles or motor vehicles and tricycles, were recovered from them, he says. Ndukwe said that the suspect would be arraigned and prosecuted upon conclusion of investigations. The Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar, has assured of increased air support to sister security agencies combating oil theft and insurgency across the country. Abubakar, who gave the assurance on Monday at a luncheon with troops of air components of Operation Delta Safe at the Nigerian Air Force NAF base in Port Harcourt, Rivers State, said that President Bola Tinubu had mandated the military to adopt a results-driven approach to addressing insecurity in the country. While the force is resolute and determined to preserve the territorial integrity of the United Nigeria, as well as prevent economic sabotage, he said the Air Force carried out a series of air missions in support of surface forces for enhanced operational effectiveness. Abubakar, who was represented by the commander of NAF's 115 Special Operations Group, Commander Ali Idris, outlined various air operations including air interdiction, armed reconnaissance, and intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance missions. The Air Chief commended Tinubu's backing of security forces, assured the troops' commitment to actualizing their mandate. Governor Similaye Fubara of Rivers at the event expressed gratitude to the military for its selfless sacrifice in protecting the state and the nation from both foreign and domestic threats. He said that the country had recorded significant reduction in insecurity and attributed the improved security situation to the commitment of security personnel. Fubara reiterated its government's support for the Air Force operations against illegal bunkering and other unlawful activities in the state. Still to come, visiting professor from New York, Uchenna Ekwo, calls for more media presence at the grassroots. Join us after this break. The editor-in-chief and president of Center for Media and Peace Initiative in New York, Professor Uchenna Ekwo, has called on the Nigerian government to look into the current media policy in favor of the rural dwellers. Ekwo, who is on an African Diaspora Fellowship program sponsored by United States of America, visited the Raymond Dokwesi Broadcasting House of Signature TV, ENUGU, as part of his research on the impact of local news to poor African democracy, with Nigeria as a case study. Signature TV correspondent Chinemere Mikebunam covered the visit and reports.
Uchenna Ekwo, a professor of communication and media studies in New York, said he is currently carrying out some research work in Nigeria's media ecosystem. He said his interest is focused more on how to report the rural dwellers and things that concern them. Ekwo, who was a one-time chairman of the ENUGU Council of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, spoke of the need to evolve a viable system of community radio or other channels to give voice to those who are presently denied access to the conventional media.
When there is absence of local news, it creates room for disinformation, gossip, and all that, and it takes over the whole place. And it also affects participation in democracy.
Professor Ekwo paid tribute to the president and management of Signature TV for placing emphasis on reporting those who are neglected by the conventional media. He promised to work in partnership with the organization to ensure that those at the local levels participate in the democracy process to improve their lives.
What we need to do is localize development at every level by making communities have confidence in their leaders and by exposing malfeasance. There's corruption everywhere. I think there's a program we started doing sometime called Corruption to yeah. So those are the little things that we should be doing so that people can have confidence in us.
Responding, the president of Signature TV, V. Martin Obiora Ilo, said Ekwo's visit and project in Nigeria aligns fully with the vision and mission of Signature TV, which informed the location of its corporate headquarters in Enugu. He said the organization is committed to bringing the media to the doorstep of ordinary people.
The things you have said resonate with us. Part of being here in the people's interest is that we want to cover that part of society that is seldom covered. Those are the ones, the uncovered group of Nigerians, those are the ones we want to cover. As journalists, you wonder why a station that started in Abuja decided to come and put its headquarters in Enugu. It is strategic and intentional. And that is because we want to cover, to bring journalism, to bring television, to bring media to the ordinary people.
The two veteran journalists, who both had their roots in Radio Nigeria Enugu, are in agreement that time has come to make the media and its services available not only to the rich and the mighty, but the ordinary citizens. They also agreed that government should begin to think more on how to lessen the burden of private media owners to enable them play their role as the fourth estate of the realm more effectively. Chinemerem Ikebunam for Signature TV News.
A Nigerian scientist, Professor Oyewole Tomori, has expressed disappointment over Nigeria's continuous exclusion from the African Regional Directorate for the World Health Organization, WHO. Tomori, a renowned Nigerian virologist who spoke in an interview with newsmen in Abuja on Monday, called for transparency, fairness and credibility in the process for nominating the regional director of WHO for the African region. He accused the government, especially the Coordinating Ministry of Health and Social Welfare in Nigeria, of lack of support for the emergence of Nigerians in the process, while accusing the ministry of bias in favor of candidates from specific tribes rather than supporting the most qualified individuals. Tomori stated that the persistent geopolitical favoritism and calculated negligence have frustrated capable Nigerian candidates, emphasizing the need to address specific aspects of the nomination process, including the submission of proposals, electoral campaigns, and the conduct of member states and candidates. He said that in spite of having highly qualified candidates, Nigeria had never held the influential position in the WHO, which he said is a worrisome trend that undermines and limits the career progression and aspirations of citizens in the organization. The names of the candidates for the elections of the next regional director for the WHO African region were sent by WHO Director General Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus to the relevant member states on June 14th, while the next regional director will be elected in a closed meeting during its 74th session from August 26th to August 30th in Brazzaville, Republic of Congo. The Ebonyi state government has embarked on the sensitization of students in the state on the recently reintroduced national anthem. The sensitization efforts are being jointly undertaken by the Ministries of Information and the State Orientation and Education, who are now on a visit to the school. Meanwhile, operators of modular refineries in the country have confirmed the concerns raised by the chairman of Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote, that some mafias in the oil sector are bent on stopping the refining of petrol and other refined petroleum products in the country. The publicity secretary of the Crude Oil Refinery Owners Association of Nigeria, CORAN, Eche Idoko, said in a statement that the body had raised the concerns severally into the past, but received no positive feedback. Idoko said the merchants have held the country hostage, especially in the area of domestic petroleum product supply, which has succeeded in crippling the whole economy. Dangote had last week revealed that both local and international cartels, which he described as mafia, made repeated attempts to sabotage the $19 billion Dangote Petroleum Refinery project located in Lagos. Dangote, who described himself as a fighter, said they tried all sorts of things to stop him, while some of the international banks were looking forward to making sure that they pushed him to default loans so that the project will be dead. The Lagos State Commissioner for Health, Professor Akin Abayomi, says Lagos Island has the highest number of suspected cholera cases, with 106 cases out of the 350 suspected cases in the state. Abayomi disclosed in his X handle that laboratory tests have confirmed that the outbreak was due to cholera, with the identified strain being highly aggressive and contagious with potential for widespread dissemination. He disclosed that the 350 suspected cases were reported in 29 wards across multiple local government areas in the state, with 17 confirmed cases and 15 fatalities attributed to severe dehydration caused by delayed presentation at health facilities. The commissioner stressed that the state was intensifying its public health prevention campaigns to check a resurgence, while persons suspected to be infected are receiving free treatment at the state's public health facilities in line with public health response protocols. The state, he said, is receiving support from the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, and international partners including the World Health Organization, WHO, and UNICEF, while local non-governmental organizations are actively involved in raising awareness and conducting community-based surveillance efforts. Still to come, train collision kills at least 13 in India's West Bengal, and Rangers management to rejig the team ahead of CAF Championship. Join us for more after this break. TV news. European Union says it is not worried about China opening in an anti-dumping investigation into imported pork and its byproducts from the EU. Spokesperson for the bloc's executive commission said told reporters that the EU would intervene appropriately to ensure the investigation complies with all relevant World Trade Organization rules. The Chinese ministry has said the investigation was prompted by complaints by the China Animal Husbandry Association. It comes shortly after the EU imposed anti-subsidy duties on Chinese-made electric cars. And elsewhere, trucks carrying humanitarian aids were seen driving through the Karim Shalom crossing in southern Israel on Monday, a day after the military announced it would hold daily tactical pauses in fighting along one of the main roads into Gaza to facilitate aid delivery into the Palestinian enclave. In the nearby lots on the Israeli side of the border, dozens of crates holding aid, mostly food items such as onions, canned mushrooms, rice and bananas, were waiting to be put on trucks for a transfer on the border to international organizations, including the United Nations and other partners operating on the ground in Gaza. The military had announced the daily pauses in the area from the Karim Shalom crossing to the Salah al-Din road and then northwards. The military clarified that combat operations would continue in Rafah, the main focus of its operation in southern Gaza, where 8 soldiers were killed on Saturday. Hanoi residents on Sunday said they were looking forward to welcoming Russian President Vladimir Putin to Vietnam ahead of the leader's 2-day visit to the Southeast Asian country this week. In a trip that highlights communist-ruled Vietnam's loyalty to Russia, Putin will meet Vietnam's new President To Lam and other leaders in Hanoi from Wednesday, June 19th to Thursday, June 20. Some Hanoi residents expressed their admiration for the Russian leader and hoped for even closer ties between the two former allies in the Vietnam War. Together with Vietnam, Putin is also scheduled to visit North Korea, another long-standing friend of Russia. The Russian leader has rarely traveled abroad since the start of the Russian invasion of Ukraine in early 2022 and was declared a wanted person by the International Criminal Court in March last year. An accident involving a goods train that smashed into the rear of a passenger train in India's West Bengal state on Monday killed at least 13 people and injured dozens. Video of the aftermath showed containers from the goods train strewn on the tracks and a train carriage suspended at a severe angle with a large crowd of onlookers seen at the collision site. The goods train hit the Kanchenjunga Express, which was on its way to Kolkata, the capital of West Bengal, from the northeastern state of Agartala, causing 3 carriages of the passenger train to go off the trails. Railway officials said more people were feared trapped inside the mangled carriages, but there were no immediate details. The accident comes a year after India's state-run railway system suffered its worst crash in 2 decades in the state of Odisha, where nearly 300 people were killed. Australia's Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and Chinese Premier Li Qiang met on Monday in their first visit to the country by a Chinese premier in 7 years. After the meeting, Li told reporters the leaders held a candid, in-depth and fruitful meeting and reached a lot of consensus. He said both leaders agreed to uphold the right characterization of their bilateral relationship and consolidate its momentum by handling their relationship with a positive attitude. The visit by Li, China's top-ranked officials after President Xi Jinping, marks a stabilization in relations between the U.S. security ally and the world's second biggest economy after a frosty period of Beijing blocking $20 billion in Australian exports and friction over defense encounters. Governor of Enugu State, Peter Mbah, has congratulated the Rangers International Football Club of Enugu for winning the 2023-2024 Nigerian Premier Football League (NPFL) title. Reacting to the victory, Governor Mbah said the Rangers' title win and the display of the pitch were clear, exciting reenactment of the greatness that Enugu State was known for, and restated his government's plans to commit more resources towards sports development. He said the state will continue on that trajectory by making sure there is a superb reward system that would motivate the players to go all out to bring home the coveted CAF Champions Cup to the state. A 33rd minute goal by Kenechukwu Agu and a 65th minute goal by Chidebere Nwobodo handed the Fidelis Ilechukwu two-third lads their 8th league title and their second since 2016. Their closest rivals, Remo Stars and Yanyimba Football Club, lost their match day 37 fixtures, 1-2 each against Sunshine Stars, and supporting Lagos, leaving the Flying Antelopes with an insurmountable 67 points lead with a game to go. And meanwhile, the management of the Rangers International Football Club of Enugu says it will engage few more quality legs to ensure the team emerges victorious in the CAF Confederations Cup. Rangers Media and Communications Officer Norbert Okoli gave the information in an exclusive interview with Signature Television correspondent Ebenezer Odo in Enugu.
Media and Communication Officer of Rangers International Football Club of Enugu, Norbert Okoli, who fielded answers based on the performances of the club in this season, noted that the Antelopes have bounced back to what they were in their good old days. Okoli, who said that he was not surprised that Rangers International Football Club of Enugu got the win over the visiting Bendel Insurance Football Club of Benin with a 2-0 defeat, explained that the club already had a 5-point lead ahead of the second place Rano Stars of Ikene, Ogun State. Okoli, who appreciated the state governor, Peter Mbah, for regrassing the Nnamdi Azikiwe Sports Stadium, Enugu, and assured their fans that Rangers management will leave no stone unturned to see that the club becomes African champions.
And it was a marvelous thing for us, a very enjoyable thing for the fans. The stadium was jam-packed, and we had to actually thank the fans for coming out in their numbers to actually drum support for us, and we celebrate this with them. We dedicate this victory to them, and we also dedicate this victory to God, because if not for God, nobody would have known what happened. God has been the reason we are where we are today.
A cross-section of Rangers fans in Enugu metropolis who spoke to Signature TV News expressed joy that the club emerged champions of the 2023-2024 of Nigerian Professional League competition after playing 37 out of the 38 matches.
It is a thing of joy to every person of Enugu extraction. Rangers International has been a team that represents the state in all strata of football.
For Rangers to have come this far, they know what it takes, they know what is at stake, they know what is ahead of them. So Rangers is not a baby team. And you recall that it's only Rangers in Nigerian Football League that has never gone on relegation.
I'm not a football fan, but I'm from Enugu, so I'm very much happy that they won the match.
The Rangers fans, who included the Nigerian Football Federation match commissioner, Emeka Eze, and the secretary, Enugu State Football Association, Francis Ugu, urged the players and their handlers to live up to expectations.
They have a very big task to go ahead, because they move up higher than this league, because they are going to meet other clubs that's higher than the league. We played here, like Egypt, Tunisia, Libya, and other African countries. So they have to prepare well. I'm sure they're going to do fine, because even governor is behind them in every angle.
They are moving for a higher tax now. They have to come back and prepare very well. The coach has to do his best. And equally the state and the governor, which I'm sure have already promised them to support them.
Rangers, by this victory over the Bendel Insurance Football Club of Benin, will represent Nigeria in the CAF Championship League competition for elite clubs in Africa in August. In Enugu, Ebenezer Odo, Signature TV News.
That's the news this hour. I'm Charles Pius. Thanks for watching.